You're listening to the John and Heidi Show. Now, featuring the wit and wisdom of Dan Farris.
Okay, dudes, let's walk this sucker.
On Sunny 93.3.
It's the John and Heidi Show bonus hour with Mr. Dan Farris. Good morning, Dan.
Hey, John Heidi. Good morning. You guys are looking just snappy.
What?
Snappy as looking. You know, I'm a history guy. I love history.
Me too.
Which is why every morning when I come in here, I start out with a few nuggets from history because it's just fascinating what's happened before we were walking the planet. 1849, very first boatload of gold rush prospectors arrived from the East Coast into San Francisco.
Really?
Now, get the year 1949.
That is the gold rush 49ers.
That's right, San Francisco 49ers. That's exactly how that football team got that name.
I did not know that.
That is a true story. You'll love this one. It was this day, 1854. The Republican Party was formally organized.
Nice.
You're not going to believe this. You would think that would be out on, one of the 13 colony states, something like that. It was in beautiful, picturesque, wonderful little Ripon, Wisconsin.
Really?
Oh.
I did not know that.
Yep, it happened in Wisconsin. That's a true story. And then the Republican Party got busy doing a few little things maybe you would have read about. Abolishing slavery, shutting down the Ku Klux Klan,
That's right.
passing civil rights, and they
making history.
They cracked into a line in Kugel and watched the Packers game. But there's a downside to everything, I guess.
So it's lucky they're the Red Party. They could have very easily been the Green Party, the Packer fans.
Okay, thanks, John. It was 1903. 1903, and this is stunning. 1903, the very first Women's Day March happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you think that's kind of a new thing? It's not.
Imagine the first
at least
one.
they had reasons to then. I feel like they don't anymore.
It would have been pretty gutsy to do that.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. They walked out of the factories and everything else. And it was also the first recorded incident in history where all the menfolk kind of huddled together in bars and barbershops, garages, barns, and kind of stared at their feet and mumbled, sorry, without really knowing why.
What are we going to do now?
So there you go. A little taste of what happened before we got here.
All right. Dan, thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I love a little look back at history. It's always fun. And we're going to look ahead right now. We've got Ranger Dan coming in. We got some entertainment news. We got a lot of fun stuff. It's all on the way on the John and Heidi Show bonus hour with Dan Farris.
When was the last time you got a new credit card? If you have a card that's been in your purse or wallet for a long time, you should check and see if you're getting the best rates. You may find a better credit card that will give you the points you want or cashback options you don't get right now. At bettercreditcards.com, you see all the major credit card companies and their best offers. Let them compete to earn your business. And if the one you have right now is better, keep it. Find a card that's a better fit for you at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
Time now for Ranger Dan's Critter Corner.
Well, I'm rough, tough, and ready. I'm a heck of a man. Eat my beans and weenies from a frying pan.
He's Ranger Dan.
Easy. I'm Ranger Dan. Well, I loves to wrestle bears and lasso ducks, run over possums in my government truck.
He's Ranger Dan.
Easy. I'm Ranger Dan. Well, I loves all the campers and the animals too. If you're picking on critters, I'm coming after you.
He's Ranger Dan.
Yes, sir. I'm Ranger Dan.
Good morning, Ranger Dan.
Good morning, Ranger Dan.
Howdy ho, Dan. Oh, direct from the old Ranger Dan canteen and right to my liver kind of sounds like this if you knock on it. Beside the point. Let's get right to it. Old Radio Ranger, get around the radio. Old Ranger Dan, surprise, gonna drop a little critter knowledge on you.
Nice.
Critter knowledge on you. According to scientists, in fact, very specific scientists, insect scientists, which we technically refer to as entomologists.
Oh, right.
That's a word worth knowing. Write that down, little Radio Rangers. I'll give you 5-10 minutes. Anyway, they study bugs.
They study bugs.
According to these folks, bees can't fly in the rain.
Really?
Oh.
To which I got to kind of cock a bushy eyebrow and say, you know what? Pretty sure bees can fly in the rain. They just choose not to.
Oh, hey, there you
Possibly.
go. They probably are smart enough to come in out of the rain.
That's important to keep in mind, little Radio Rangers. When it comes to science, question everything. These are the same people that came out several years ago absolutely swearing up and down that alcohol kills brain cells. That's all the time we have. Smile already, all right? You know, stay in school, go to church, say your prayers, eat your vegetables, don't be wearing cracks. Boy, what was in that canteen? Ranger Dan out. Yes, sir.
Again, Ranger Dan's Critter Corner.
If you struggle to drink without drinking too much, there is help. There are programs designed to help take alcohol out of your life for good at timeforrehab.com. Don't let a drinking problem spill over into other areas of your life. Get help to quit drinking and start living the life you truly deserve at timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com. Your insurance may cover everything. Learn more at timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com.
Time now for Water Cooler Talk, brought to you by Aqua One. Mr. Dan Farris back in the studio with his news notebook.
Oh, where to go? We got shootings, assaults, drug deals gone horribly wrong, car accidents, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I don't even want to go there. I mean, I just
steer clear of the hard news.
So depressing. Yeah, so this story kind of lit me up from the Associated Press. South Dakota postal worker accused of stealing gift cards. Other male been sentenced to
oh my gosh,
2 years probation.
That's pretty common.
Hate giving out names. The postal worker's initials are Kayla Otmo.
Oh, yeah.
Out of beautiful Paquana, South Dakota. And that's where her route was, too.
And she was taking gift cards.
Well, actually pled guilty back in November to theft of mail by Postal Service employees. Federal authorities say she stole letters, packages, bags, and mail that just weren't addressed to her. Otmo, who is employed as a rural carrier associate, prosecutors say she took the gift cards, converted them for her own use. She's been ordered to pay $315 in restitution. And you're thinking to yourself,
$315?
She's snagging mail and only $315. Well, keep in mind, Paquana has a total population of about 290 people.
Wow.
So basically, for the most part, if the kind of mail they get is kind of mail I get, it's generally just direct mail pieces for free hearing tests. That's all there is to it. But if you ever get down Paquana Way, I invite you to stop into the Puck U Bar and Grill.
Is that really a thing?
That really is a thing.
That's amazing.
Decent homemade food.
How far?
Cold beer, a lit jukebox, and depending on your penchant for violence, there aren't too many bar fights, but when they are, they're pretty good.
How far a drive would that be from here? Is that a long ways? Okay.
I don't know.
It's a jaunt. I'm just wondering if that would be like.
I've never heard of the town,
but
I would assume in a town that size, if somebody's snagging mail, it wouldn't take very long for word to get out.
It's down around
for people
Lower
to kind of
Brule,
figure out that hey, somebody's stealing our mail. It's probably not very smart.
Took a while. She's on probation. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know, she had a government gig, so she'll just be ponying up with I don't know, a little check here and there at the Puck U Bar and Grill. Also on and off sale, so they got you covered.
I'm just thinking Christmas party ideas. That's all I'm saying. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show bonus hour with Dan Farris. Coming up, we're going to visit with Pam Hoffman from a really cool place. This is, I think, a really neat thing. Dan knows a little bit about this.
Oh, love Pam and love what she's doing with this.
River Valley Retreat.
Yep.
And it's like an Airbnb, but it's way more than an Airbnb because there's like a mission behind this. And we're going to chat with her all about that in a bit.
Do you have a lucky shirt? FunkyMonkeyShirts.com has several lucky shirts to wear next month for St. Patrick's Day. Or if it's a really lucky shirt, you can wear it every day. Green shirts, 4-leaf clovers, Irish sayings, and more. Don't wait. If you order your lucky shirt right now, it can be here in time to wear for St. Patrick's Day. Find t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and more at FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. That's FunkyMonkeyShirts.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Super excited to have a guest in the studio here. We've got Pam Hoffman. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very cool. You've got a cool place called River Valley Retreat. Now, first of all, let's talk about where the concept came for this. How in the world did you come up with this idea?
First of all, my sons and I were rescued 1,000,000 times by God when I became a single parent.
Yeah.
When I would wonder, how am I going to pay for the heat bill? How am I going to pay for the house payment this month? All of a sudden, God would swoop in and sweep me up just before I hit the ground and say, I got you. And then the next time would come along and I'd think, how am I going to pay for $96 cap and gowns for graduation and pay the phone bill? And how am I going to... I've got you, kid. What part of this rescue don't you get? Now I realize my purpose is to rescue, and I love it.
Now you get to help. Say, I
Absolutely.
got you, kid.
Yes. And you're going to be fine. You're going to make it. I've been a single parent for 17 years. And you know what? We're all going to make it.
Got you, kid.
I got you, kid. Yeah. A couple of years ago, my boys were home, and I thought, oh my gosh, when they come home with wives and kids someday, I'm in trouble because they still have one room with bunk beds, and they're 23 and 25.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I decided we would add on, finally, after 20 years of living in this house. So I added on.
And it sounds like you added on quite a bit.
I did. And some neighbors were asking me, so what are you going to do with those bedrooms when they're not home to visit? And I said, immediately, I'll bless people.
Yeah.
It just hit me immediately what I was supposed to do. So I added on 5 bedrooms with 5 bathrooms. And that way I can house people from out of town for hospital and medical clinic treatment stays.
Yeah.
They can stay with me for free
or
by donation, which will help pay it forward to a family who might need it.
That is really, really cool.
Yeah. Insurance does not cover restaurants and hotels. That'll break people.
Absolutely. And when they're already going through a difficult time anyway.
Oh, terrible.
So what put that on your heart to open your home to people to do this? How in the world did you decide to do this?
That was easy.
That you went through personally, or?
Well, my mom had cancer 17 years ago, and if my aunt and uncle had not lived in Minneapolis, my mom and dad would have stayed for 6 weeks in hotels.
Oh, wow.
Because, you have chemo in the morning from 7:30 to 8:30 for 1 hour, and what do you do in a city where you don't know anybody?
Yeah.
You drive around, you go to this museum, it's $10 per person to get in, you go to the movie. They were able to go back and forth to my aunt and uncle's house, relax, and I do remember my dad saying, after about 4 weeks, you feel like you start to smell like a fish, even though you don't. And aunt and uncle are our best friends. It's nice that they're there, but you wish you had your own little place to stay. And I remember that. It just has stuck with me for 17 years. And then my dad also went through cancer as well, but he was here and doctoring in Sioux Falls. If
people listening are saying, hey, I would like to know more about this, where do they find you? Are you online?
I am online. I do have a Facebook page of River Valley Retreat. What's also coming is getting a 501c3 completed called The Pink Door. And that will be for breast cancer patients from 3-4 hours out in the rural areas who are traveling also to Sioux Falls. I found out at my Pammogram. With a name like Pam, that's what you call a mammogram. So I was at my Pammogram, and the gal had told me that, there are women from 3 or 4 hours out that don't come back for their biopsies or even their treatments because they know they're going to be a financial burden on their family. And I said, why isn't anybody talking about this? And she said, because they quietly go home.
Yeah, that's too bad.
It broke my heart. And so immediately standing there, I said, you know what? I wasn't going to do a nonprofit, but I guess I will for that part.
Yeah.
And I'll call it the Pink Door, and I'm going to network homes around our city, in our community, that have a guest room.
Yeah.
They're not being used.
Yeah.
And so my plan is to just say, hey, Susan, you got room for Sylvia? She's coming from Pierre.
That's awesome.
Well, no, I don't, but Doris does. So then I'll contact Doris and say, Doris, you have room for Sylvia? She's coming from Pierre? Yes, I do. Then I'll contact Sylvia and say, hi, Sylvia, this is Pam with the Pink Door in Sioux Falls, and I'm calling to let you know you need to go get some groceries and come down to Sioux Falls. You're going to go to Doris's house and stay in her guest room, and then you can go to your treatments and go back to her house, use her kitchen, stay in her guest room, relax. She doesn't expect anything from you monetarily. If you'd like to donate, that just pays it forward to someone else. She just wants you to come and get better.
That's awesome.
That's my plan.
So this is kind of like an Airbnb, but it's more like an I Care B&B.
Yeah. Yes.
This is just a neat idea. So if people would like to get information on that, can they do all of that right through the same social media page for the River Valley Retreat?
They can. I'm also listed on Airbnb.
By doing the Airbnb, that helps afford to give all of this other stuff back, right?
Exactly. That's why I'm doing the Airbnb. That'll help me pay for the people.
Very, very nice. So if people are saying, boy, that's just a really neat idea, I'd like to do that. Well, if you know somebody coming to this area and they're looking for a place to stay, have them stay here because that is a way for you to help.
Absolutely. And if I don't have room, I'll find room. That's going to be that purpose of the Pink Door for that part.
That is fantastic. How do people find you? What is the website? What is the phone number?
Website is rivervalleyretreatsd, like South Dakota.com. And also on Airbnb, it would be airbnb.com/ /H/River Valley Retreat.
Very nice. And I'm going to throw a link to all of that to make it a lot easier to find.
Oh, wow.
And if people would like to call, what is the phone number they can call and say, hey, I want to be a part of this. I want to help.
That would be 605-310-2221.
Very, very nice. And I'll throw a link to all of the information on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Sunny Radio.
Student loan debt is out of control for many people. Are you one of them? The average graduate walks away with anywhere from $25,000 to $40,000 in student loans. Believe it or not, 2% even manage to owe over $100,000 by the time they graduate. If you have several different student loans, let us consolidate them into one loan and one payment at singlestudentloan.com. If you have only one student loan, we may be able to offer you a better rate to help you get that loan paid off sooner at singlestudentloan.com. That's singlestudentloan.com.
Time now for entertainment news of the day with Mr. Dan Farris.
Give it up for celebrities, yes, sir. Fabulous hermoso. I'm good. You know, I just ran into a wall. It's like a narrow.
You got a little too wound up and hit the wall.
Narrow spot in the studio. Holy cow. You know, if you're any kind of a business person, entrepreneurial or otherwise, and it's always been kind of a good show, and I'm talking about Shark Tank.
Oh, yeah.
It's been airing for a whole long time. And you know Barbara Corcoran?
Yep, I've talked to her a couple times.
One of the folks involved there, pretty sharp lady. She's just been fleeced out of $400,000.
Whoa.
An email scam, believe it or not.
No way.
A phishing scam, and it was just one small typo in the thing that made this happen. Pretty crazy story. Let me see if I can break it out for you.
Wow. Well, that's really sad.
No way.
An email chain was forwarded to Barbara's bookkeeper that showed or appeared to show that she, the TV star's executive assistant, was saying that Barbara had approved a payment to a company called FFH Concept in Germany.
Oh.
The total on the invoice was $388,700.11.
Okay.
However, the email didn't come from her executive assistant, but rather from an email that looked just like it. Bookkeeper asked all the standard questions, and all the answers seemed to line up with Barbara's real estate dealings in Germany. However, the bookkeeper didn't notice that the scammers had changed the assistant's email address by removing just one letter.
Oh, no.
And unbeknownst to her, they were the ones who were actually communicating.
I bet the one letter was an M at the end.
Oh, my gosh.
Payment got wired to the account listed in the original email. Afterwards, she messaged the assistant at the real email. It was then that they discovered they'd been victimized.
No.
Barbara Corcoran's team tracked the original scam emails back to a Chinese IP address. Her attorneys are now looking into the matter, but it appears that that money's probably gone.
Oh, my gosh.
So there you go. China all over the news lately. You know what I mean? Here's the thing. And speaking, I've been watching my retirement fund just tank in the last 72 hours. And by the way, China,
coronavirus.
You know, when you think about it, and I get really ticked off, the most recent was the NBA, our National Basketball Association, bowing to those freaks over there. They've given us communism. They've given us overpriced sneakers.
Yeah.
Cheap home goods and toys slathered in lead-based paint. The only thing I'm down with from China in the last 10,000 years is gunpowder, but that's it.
There's always something.
And cashew
There's always a silver lining if you look.
That's it. Not a fan. You hear about it all the time, well, Russia this and Russia that. Hey, Russia can't even kill moose and squirrel. Get over it, man.
Exactly.
It's
Let's
all
focus.
China.
Well, thank you for that.
That was just a little aside from that.
A little one up. Hey, and if you're ever doing business with somebody through email and you haven't talked to them specifically, and it's something like this where it's a giant amount of money,
for sure.
Call them.
Oh my gosh.
Talk to them.
That's horrible.
Yeah, 'cause we're talking about some pretty big hitters and some professionals that just got taken here.
But I don't know what letter was missing, but, you know, in addition to .com, there are some websites that are .co, and I actually had something that was sent to me where they meant to send it to a .co, and it came to a .com for the different domain that I had, and I never even thought about that. But I got an email from somebody that they were trying to reach someone else, and I didn't scam them because I'm not a scammer. Scammy
Or you
face.
can do what I do. Just try to stay off the grid as much as humanly possible. Because it's pretty much all just the devil's playground, boys and girls.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show bonus hour with Mr. Dan Farris.